Good evening, everybody. How are you all tonight? I'll give you a couple of seconds to jump on. So, tonight we're going to talk about supplements. We're going to demystify um, supplements. And if you don't have a nutritionist to go to, or if you, for whatever reason, you can't go, we're just going to look at the basics to think about when you're thinking about supplementation. Now, I have put a couple of links into the event on Facebook, not on Instagram or anything, but you can find Boots do a free sort of questionnaire thing, and actually Holland and Barrett have got a lot of very helpful information on their site. Now, Holland and Barrett get a bit of bad press sometimes, but in actual fact, the people that are there are very well trained. So what brand should you buy? Let's start with that. And it's plain and simple. Who can you trust? Now, when I was doing my nutrition course, we used a company called Cytoplan because they were a family-run business, and the girl who ran the course recommended them. So when I was working as a nutritionist, that's what I recommended because there was a trust there. So because what we have to think about is, well, what is the coating made of? They say if it's an entrecôte coating, just basically a coating that doesn't really, that's got plastic in it shouldn't really be in the body. And also, when you put it into the digestive system, where does the goodness go? What part of the digestive system? So the coating is clearly important. Some people open the capsule up and just take the powder out because, it can be difficult to swallow, but also there's nothing in the coating. It's just holding the powder together. So there's another suggestion for you. Obviously, if it's fish oils, you're not going to do that. Well, you could, I suppose, but it'd be very messy. In terms of quality, you can obviously, it's very confusing again because there's a whole plethora of different price points. And I suppose ultimately you have to look at what's your budget. What is your budget for the supplements? And we'll go into why you would supplement as well. What's your budget? And you have to just work within your budget. So that kind of takes away. It's a bit like going in to buy vegetables. If you can't get organic vegetables, you just have to buy what's there. So sometimes we just have to stop having such terrible first world problems and just buy what we can afford. So there's various brands that are much more expensive than others. But I think also know if you go into the chemist and buy Boots' own brand, for example, paracetamol, I don't know what the price difference is between the branded one, but it's the same thing for usually about a tenth of the price. Same with aspirin if you use anything like that. But it's a similar thing. How do we know, and what is actually in them? What's the quality of the ingredients? It's the same as food. Clearly, in the ideal world, the smartest thing to do would be to get the health of our topsoil back. Because when it comes to minerals, the water coming through the rocks and into the soil, there's a whole genius process that goes on that allows, and then that soil is nutrient dense, full of microbes and worms, etc., if it's organic. And then the vegetables that grow in there, or the plants or the herbs or whatever, they obviously then they draw the nutrition in, the micronutrients in, and they provide it to us. Or if you're a carnivore, the animals eat this and then it goes through the body. And in the ideal world, if humans aren't mucking about with it, trying to make a whole load of money out of it, nature does it all for us. Hi, Beth. And if you're lucky enough, like when I'm up at Barmoloch, that's what we have. We have the food is amazing because we've got this organic soil. I know I'm not allowed to say that, organic, but I'm saying it anyway. There's no pesticides, no crap goes in there. And it gets fed with seaweed, it gets fed with manure. Manure gets a bad, even human manure, if it's, again, if we were living in cycles, it's very, very dense in nutrition. But we're not in that ideal world right now. So let's look at supplements and how you can make an intelligent choice instead of what some people do is they live a lifestyle of chaos, and they have a big pack of multivitamins, B vitamins, maybe some oils and some vitamin C, vitamin D, and they just cram it in, hoping that that's going to reverse or at least balance out any damage and any malnutrition that's going on in the body. And clearly, it doesn't really work like that. When somebody asked me last week, why do you stop taking oils? Well, I always do that. I'll maybe take something for 3 months and then I'll stop doing it and see how the body is. So the first thing is to look at, why am I supplementing? Is it, how am I feeling? What is wrong with me? So therefore, you go back to the root cause. What's wrong? Is it hormone imbalance? That's a huge topic, which I'll touch on. Is it hormone imbalance? Is it, good evening, how you doing? Is it, have I got skin issues, hair issues, eye issues? Is it digestive issues? There's a really, I put the link to the Holland and Barrett page that really just goes through vitamin A, B, C, D. And I also posted, there's a fantastic book which you can get for free. I've posted the links as well, called The Miraculous Results of Extremely High Doses of Vitamin D3. Now, this guy went from, I think they recommended, now my friend was a doctor in Glasgow and he said every single Scottish person was deficient in vitamin D. No surprise, really, because we're not outside, because the weather's crap. So I think the recommended doses, but somebody will probably come on and correct me, is somewhere around 3,000 to 5,000 milligrams or whatever the thing is. This guy was taking 50,000 every single day. Now, does that replace being outside, which is free? And we know we like free stuff. But what happened when he took this for a year? He took it for a year. And you've got to be careful with vitamin D because it can really loosen your bowels. So I wouldn't recommend you just go out and start taking 50,000. Read the book. And it's not a big book. It's just, I don't know how many pages, but it's very easy to read. All his old injuries started healing up. And again, it just really explains how when we live with nature, how the body heals. The reason most of us are sick and not getting well is because we're completely disconnected from nature. So I highly recommend, if you've got injuries that aren't healing, look at your vitamin D levels and vitamin C. So first of all, so you go, right, okay, what's the issue? Is it just that I'm tired? Let's go back to the good old basics. Why are you tired? Are you on your screen till God knows what time in the morning? Are you getting great sleep from sort of 11 o'clock at night? With no screen time, no crap in your room to affect. We can see that in the biofield viewer, that people that have got a lot of electrical devices near them when they're sleeping. Or maybe your partner's got a lot of, so sleep hygiene's critical. Then you've obviously got hydration. Are you drinking enough water, and the quality of your water? So that's another thing. Are you eating enough vegetables? And I'm a carnivore, blood group O, and I function way better, especially in the cold, when I have protein from, various animal fish sources. That's me. Everybody's free to do their own thing. Get to know your own body. What foods, if you watch the live on Peter D'Adamo's work, you'll realise we all can have different enzymes inside us that break down different blood groups, that break down the food differently. One man's medicine, I can't remember what the saying is another man's poison. So that's literally true. So that's why you can't just, there's not one diet fits all. I can't emphasize that enough. And there's no one set of vitamins and supplements that fit all. But if you're not in a position to get a nutritionist, hi, if you don't have the money, don't have the time, you can work out some very basic things for yourself. Now, the other thing to remember is when you're taking supplements, it's not like antibiotics. You're not going to feel completely better in 2 days. Clearly, you're looking at your bioterrain all the way down that digestive system. And see if you start thinking of that like an ecosystem, like in the barrier reef, for example. And there's things that live in there, things that should be living in there, and things that shouldn't. Um, High fee, yes, you're right. It is an absolute minefield. As someone with many of the joy, oh yeah, perimenopause. That's a really good. We'll talk about the perimenopause. It's knowing where to start and what to take. Yeah, so that's a great point. The perimenopause, which there's so many hormone disruptors in our environment, chemically, and in the plastics. The endocrine system is being challenged, and also stress. Because if you're going, right, what do I need? What's wrong with me? Let me give you a very basic outline. If you're going into the menopause, vitamin D is a hormone. It is key. And as somebody who moved to the sun, within a few weeks, my periods had come back like clockwork. This is my own personal experience. But what was even more fascinating and helpful was my eyesight came back 2020. And that was 12 years ago. Now, I've been out the sun. I've been back here for 5 years, and my eyesight, I mean, definitely when it gets dark, I have to put a torch on things. But still, at my age, 63, I can completely function, unless I'm in a very dark restaurant with very wee writing. And I just put a torch and I can see. So the sun, the natural light, and it doesn't really matter the temperature. It's the natural light. And even in Scotland, they say that you can pick up the rays through the clouds if you can be outside long enough. So we'll come to the perimenopause and menopause, and obviously pregnant women, breastfeeding. So let's look at why are we depleted? Because literally the food that you get in the supermarkets has got something like 60% less nutrition in it than it had 50 years ago. I look at my aunt, she's nearly 90, and, always cooked her food from scratch. Obviously, she's married to a butcher. She get great food, vegetables, nothing particularly fancy dancy, but certainly nothing processed and no fructose, which is the devil's food. I don't mean fructose with fibre as in fruit, but fructose is in everything. Any packet you buy, you'll see sugar in there. They try to hide it by changing the name of it. So processed foods for hormone balance and for any kind of health out completely. And then stress, we have to talk about, so many women and men, but I want to talk specifically about women because I want to go into the perimenopause. Stress is killing us. I've been helping my daughter out for a couple of weeks, and I'm just like, how can you possibly do all of this with children and then do a full-time job? I mean, it's madness. What we're expecting women to do nowadays is absolute madness. And it's not just women. I know that men play a big part in the family as well. But to actually enjoy preparing food, the house, the clothes, the continual, all the activities that they go to, talking to them, making sure they're all right, teaching them things. How can you do all that and a full-time job? You can't. Something's got to give. And so many people are going into the menopause early, and the vaccine definitely had a lot to do with that, and the data is quite clear on that. But even without that, there's still people going into early because of stress, I believe, and a very depleted food chain that we have. So if you're menopausal, first thing you think of is fats. because your omega-3, what happens obviously, you're getting a lot of vitamin D through your fatty acids, your oily fish, your nuts and seeds, your eggs, etc. So you need to, I'm pretty sure for you, you'll be well up on that anyway with your personal training. The other thing is stress management. Now, what happens is when you go into that adrenal response, which if you've had a lot of stress, which every single parent has had in various degrees, it's almost like you imagine you're driving your car around in first gear all the time, going up a hill, and just keep going up hills and keep going up hills, going on to the flat a wee bit and then up. What happens to the car? It ages, doesn't it? You put it under a lot of stress. Now, when you are loads of different things, moving house, we know that's way up there with grief, and then a job maybe, with people that are difficult, and maybe a partner that's difficult. All of these things are hugely, they drain your nutritional resources. They drain your micronutrients, all your trace elements, etc. So if you know you're going into a stressful situation, i.e. moving, divorcing, starting a new job, whatever it is, sometimes we can preempt that. Sometimes we can't. Shit just happens and suddenly we find ourselves in this emotional maelstrom. You have to up the ante, and that's when I would absolutely go for supplements, and I would be on at least 1,200 EPA per day, and maybe even more if you're in the perimenopause and you're stressed. Then your B complex, and you can get a lot of your these vitamins, etc., from foods. So your B's, you're looking at eggs, dairy, meat, whole grains, leafy greens. Not everybody can digest that. You have to do your research, and it is very helpful if you know your blood type, because you can start from there and work back, or work forward, and start with the basics. So a B complex and a vitamin D. The other thing I would recommend is that you check your gut for candida. So there's a free way to do that. You get a glass of water in the morning before you put anything in your mouth, and you spit in the glass. And I'll put the link up. You just Google it, spit test for candida, and see if you have candida in your digestive system, which means you can have yeast infections, fungus, etc., which can cause anxiety, hot flushes, loads of different things. Fatigue. We're now understanding, and obviously if you have massive drops in estrogen or progesterone, we're all different. So we're all having slightly different experiences, but that can put you into a really inflamed state. And that's when you can become really vulnerable to dis-ease. And my friend's mum was a nurse like 60 years ago, and she actually said to her, if women make it to 60 and stay well, they're probably going to be fine. So she had actually noticed that 60 years ago, which I find incredible. That menopausal age is not to be taken lightly, and sometimes you have to take HRT even if you don't want to. You want to really understand that hormone imbalance, and you can get a lot of it from food. You can get there's loads of different ways, and we'll talk about that in a second. But just understand if your hormones have gone way out of whack, and all the things that you can do to bring it back into balance. Somebody saying the Lady Care magnet is an absolutely amazing thing to use. Could not have done it without it. Changed my state in days. I don't know who that is, Facebook user. Can you tell me how much a lady magnet is? Hi, Bernie. Okay. Yeah, so the great thing about the Heal Scotland group and the Healing Hub is sharing ideas with, it's you, Marion. How much is it? How much is the Lady Magnet? Because the reality is people don't, it's about £40. Not everybody has got the resources. And again, I believe there's ways to do it. I love gadgets. Don't get me wrong. Get somebody to buy you one for your birthday, Valentine's, or Christmas. If you need one, get one, if it really helps. But I am big for looking at what we can do for free. So there's a test they can do to tell you whether you're going into the perimenopause, and then you'll understand, but you'll be feeling it, and there's all sorts of reasons, and there's all sorts of things you can do. Cold water. And this is another thing that, cold water and breath work doesn't fix everything. If you have gut dysbiosis and hormone imbalances, you may have to add other things in. And looking at your diet may not be enough. What happened to me when I got postmenopausal arthritis? Normally juicing fixed everything for me, but it didn't. So I had to then, the cold water on top of all the other things that I was doing and supplementing as well. All of that, and I had massive candida. And because the inflammation can get out of control when you go into the menopause, and they reckon 25% of women it happens to, but I actually think it's more. I think it's more now. Then the inflammation has to be dealt with, and there's the cold water's great, but it may not be enough. And I'm talking from my own personal experience. So for me, and I'm going to talk you through, I've kind of gone off topic a little bit, but I'm going to talk you through what I take for candida and heavy metals. So I take zeolite for the heavy metals. Now you can take zeolite or bentonite clay, and that binds to the metals and flushes them through the body. I've obviously just done a liver flush as well, which you can Google, the amazing liver and gallbladder flush. Phenomenal for clearing out the liver. Because, you can get a fatty liver even without drinking alcohol, which I have drank a lot of in my life. So it's good to look at flushing the liver. The other thing that I take is hydrogen peroxide, just little few drops. Again, you can Google about that, learn more. I take colloidal silver for yeast infections. And what else do I do? I think that might be it. Yeah, so that's what I'm doing right now. And a fish oil. I take fish oil. So if it's the menopause, that's what I would recommend. Fish oils, B complex. Joy's saying Magnet was about £20 when I used it in the late 40s and 50s. Definitely helped me sail through it too. Okay, I've never even heard of that. So there you go. There's a great tip. Worth a try. And maybe somebody's got one lying there in their house because they've gone through the menopause. So the other thing, let's look outside it's the fats. Get as much fat, get as much daylight as you can. And it seems to be, if you can get out in the morning, and Fee, I know where you're at in Canada, you can get out it's very cold, I know at this time, and moving your eyes from side to side to really get all the neurotransmitters going, and that really is going to kick that hormonal response off. You're going to start your vitamin D, and if you can't get enough light at certain times of the year, which some of us just can't, then supplement vitamin D. But remember, that guy was saying 50,000. So the RDA is just so basic, and we're all different. We're all going through different things in terms of stress. If you're very stressed, up the game, the zinc, the magnesium. Again, you just have to go, what's in my budget? And if you had to prioritise, I would put fish oils first, and then B vitamins. And then I would put the D and the C in, full of antioxidants. And again, look at the foods. What can you get from the food sources? So if you're looking for vitamin C, you're obviously with citrus fruits. I use a lot of limes and lemons and everything. Oranges, tangerines are brilliant at this time of year. Peppers, strawberries, broccoli. Vitamin D, you're looking at your oily fish, red meat, eggs. And again, if you're a vegan, you have to think about supplementing because you may not be getting enough. And vitamin E for your skin and your eyes. And you can get that obviously from from nuts and seeds and plant oils. So your olive oils and sesame oils, etc. But remember not to heat them up because you'll lose the goodness. Iron's another one as well, because obviously that's something that us women can. I had low iron. What happened to me was I had a heavy bleed with my first child, and my spleen apparently never remanufactured all the way back up. So I was always functioning at kind of 80%. And then, and your spleen is like it's like a blood transfusion. The body keeps that. So if you ever have a heavy bleed, the spleen has got extra blood in there to give you. Like your appendix has got your probiotics. So if you ever get a bad infection, your appendix, they say the appendix is useless. It's absolutely not. Do you think they just put an organ in there for no reason? So your appendix is your probiotic in case you get an infection. So, hey, what fish oils do you use as they repeat on me? Yeah, I had that issue actually the other night when I did my liver flush. Um, I think we'll go with the fish. Can you eat fish? I would just do that. You can get a lot of this from your food. Also, you can get it in oil form without the capsules. You could try that, or mix it in, with something that's not going to taste, so that you're eating it with food. That would be my recommendations. Yeah, back to iron, because obviously if you've had kids, etc., and you breastfeeding again takes a lot out of you, then you may be short in iron. And the other thing so you can get that from some meat, beans, whole grains, legumes, leafy greens. But here's the other thing with a lot of our trace elements, our micronutrients. They're getting pulled out of the bone and the blood to try and buffer toxicity at a cellular level. So when you are becoming deficient, like in B vitamins and zinc, etc., like that, again, we also know the parasites, the worms, the flukes can be having a field day on great stuff that you're putting in the body. So when it comes to supplementing, again, if you do the spit test and you realise that you've got some candida going on in the gut, there's a wee bit of an infestation there, and I would clear that out first with the zeolite, the colloidal silver, the hydrogen peroxide, and I use turpentine. I did 5 days up to the new moon, and I'll be doing 5 days up to the full moon to get all of that under control. If you've done a lot of foreign travel, which I have, and a lot of foods that we've taken in as well, a lot of us are having food poisoning that we can't really feel. What's your thoughts on castor oil and also living with 3 alpha males who don't understand? Yes, I am actually taking castor oil as well. I forgot that right now, because what castor oil does is it helps with the biofilm. There's things in there that are stubborn and coated because they're clever, these little critters, right? They want to live there. They're happy. So until we can change the pH so that they don't have a nice home, we're alkalizing our diet and making the terrain back to the temperature, the pH that it's meant to be, so that it's not a breeding ground for the bad guys. And obviously you can do that with fermented foods and a lot of raw foods that are full of digestive enzymes and microbes. And one of my friends who's got type 1 diabetes was saying that she started taking a tablespoon of kimchi at night, and it's really stabilizing her blood sugar, which I think is incredible. We're always looking for very complicated solutions. And, the Dr. Deborah Drake says we're not treating patients anymore, we're training them. And that's what I really want you to do is to go, wow, right, okay, then you can dive deeper into what's resonating with you, because we need to we need to get away from this. I'm a victim and somebody else needs to fix me and tell me what to do. No, there's so much information now. So what at Heal Scotland we're doing for you is to break it down to bite size, to go, right, okay, I've got digestive issues. What am I going to supplement for that? Digestive enzymes, probiotics. That's going to help the body break down the food, pro and prebiotics. And there's a whole load of information. The big issue, obviously, is a lot of people are just trying to sell you stuff, either their products or their services, and that can be very challenging, because what people do is, and I include myself in this, is I tell you what worked for me. But of course, what worked for me might not work for you. And that's why you have to explore and do your own research and try. Take a supplement, take a probiotic and take it for 3 months and monitor how you feel and how you're digesting the food, how your energy is. Because what happens if you're not digesting your food properly because your gut's in a state is the body's got three options. One, it can shoot it out and in terms of IBS, etc., like that, because it's not digesting. It can make more cells to store it, or it can also just bloat and struggle and make you constipated and tired, or it can do all of that. Oh, have you just been watching Fergie doing the cold water? I thought you were doing it as well. I mean, it's -30. No, that's mental. Yeah, the cold water, you maybe just the shower, or if there's has Fergie got a bath? Yeah, you can fill the bath and go in there. It definitely, and the obviously exercise helps move everything as well. Oh, you time. Yeah, you need a timer. Oh my god, I can't even imagine. I went in and last year in at the Blaeberry, but not the Blaeberry, in the village at Golden. Back at it was definitely wasn't -30. Yeah, so natural light and breath work. Of course, you can really breathe. And you know the other hugely powerful thing to do is visualization. Remember, the cells are like listening. And EFT, you tell the body, I am balancing, and visualize, the hormones balancing. The body obeys us. They say the body doesn't know the difference between what you imagine and what you do. So, if you imagine something terrible is going to happen, then guess the body has a reaction. And then, if something terrible does happen, the body has the reaction. It may not be quite as strong with the imagination, but see, when you get good at it, practice, practice, practice. As Joe Dispenza says, you're not good enough at observing and holding your focus. That's why it doesn't work. We know visualization works. We have tons of data for it. We affect the body with our thoughts and our feelings and our perceptions. So start really thinking my body and your affirmations, talking to the cells, sort this out. I am balancing the inflammation. So that's a really basic overview. So if it's digestive issues, you're looking at probiotics, prebiotics, and of course, again, you can get that from your food. Although there is a reality that aged foods that are older, are not good for some people. How do you know? Ask your body. So I did a live on the emotion codes and in kinesiology, and I'm going to be doing a lot more of that. I've got my friend Fiona Gass is going to be at the festival. Come to one of the festivals, meet the people that are doing this, educate yourselves that you can put your supplements in your hand, or your kimchi, or your sauerkraut, or your kind of bundle of sprouted seeds. Another great way to get live enzymes into the body. Just put them in your hand and see what your body does. It will tell you. I know that may sound far-fetched, but it works. Try it. So getting in veggies, 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 obviously. Soups and stews at this time of year when it's cold, and really hydrate the body. If it's hormonal stuff, look at vitamin D, a complex of Bs, and a really good and high dosage of fish oil. And then use EFT for the menopause when hormone imbalance can make you crazy. And you just have to acknowledge that and deal with the energy that's coming. I know I was talking to somebody the other day who's getting these hot flushes coming up, and just like, and also get okay with what the body's doing. Really tap on whatever you're doing. I'm not going to judge you, even although it's uncomfortable, and just try not to get emotionally attached to what the body's doing, and take these steps. Breath work, phenomenal. And again, the thing with breath work and cold water is you need to do it every day. And even if it's just a few, you don't need to do an hour. You don't need to stay in the water for any more than 90 seconds. Just do the minimum amount required to help go calm down, calm down, calm down, calm down. The magnet sounds like the magnet's good for you. You would definitely give that a bash. Um, and yeah, the other thing you can do for your digestive system and your liver is pack your liver with castor oil and frankincense. I'm drinking castor oil, a teaspoon a day right now to help get the eggs from the parasites and all these little buggers because that's something I've never really done before. I've cleansed, etc., but I've not kept it going long enough because I didn't think about the eggs and the larvae, etc. So rebalancing the terrain, you're looking at months and months and months to do that. You have to think that it's like brushing your teeth. You have to think about the daily maintenance. I know that's a drag, but that's what it's like. And when you start taking vitamins and supplements, take 3 months. And remember, we've got phones now. Just put, because I know what it's like. I'm like, I didn't do that today. I didn't take that today. I didn't. I've got all my stuff in the fridge, and I just go in the morning and I go through it all. Put it in your bathroom, wherever you are. Put it somewhere and put a reminder in your phone to take them, because that's the other thing I forget. If it's not a habit already, use all technology to help you. Wait until I look at some of these questions. I've been reading a lot and watching a girl called on Instagram. She's really not. Oh yeah, there's loads of yeah. Please feel free. I don't want people trying to cut into my lives and sell themselves and their products, but I totally support people that are doing amazing work. So absolutely ping some links on. Here's what worked for me. I'm delighted when that happens, when people are supporting each other. But we have to remember that not everybody's got the time to learn, not everybody's got the finance to buy all the products. So I'm very aware of that and very mindful of that. So, but absolutely, share links, share tips, what worked for you. So I think I've pretty much covered. Does anybody get any more questions? I have to get back to doing breath work. And obviously I don't need to get up early to see to kids. I can just do my breath work in my bed, lying down. That's what I like to do. And I love Breathe with Sandy because they're about 20 minutes. Some are shorter, some are a wee bit longer. How much time have you got? Do 5 minutes. It's so simple. I'll be doing, when I come back from my holiday, February's all about the breath. So we're going to give you loads of new ideas and get you really motivated for the breath work, and keep going with intermittent fasting. Remember, when your body's healing and repairing, that 3 hours at night and that process that the body goes into through the night of repairing all your organs, don't prohibit its ability to do that, because inhibit its ability, not prohibit. Give the body what it needs. Fasting. It's free, and it's simply one of the most powerful, incredible things that you can do. And let me see what else is coming in here. St. John's wort from a liver cleanse. Now this is the liver cleanse. There's loads of liver cleanses. The gallbladder and liver cleanse that Andreas Moritz did is a wee bit different from a lot of the other ones. And you really do batter the the stones. I mean, it amazes me, all the wee yellow stones that came out. I was going to take a picture for you, but to be honest, I just thought, really, there's plenty of photos of it on the internet. But that is definitely better out than in. And I'm not sure if it would come out if you didn't with all liver cleanses. That one, I can tell you, for me, works, and it's not difficult to do. The bit I find hardest is drinking the Epsom salts. Self-love, self-care also helps. Yeah, exactly. The thing is, for most of us now, we understand that there's certain things that we can do that make ourselves feel better, but we don't do them. And this is, certainly towards the end of the year there, when I was in quite an emotionally grieving state, I didn't care. was just, I'm not doing anything. I just was in that apathetic place. So what we were trying to do with all the information we're giving you, intermittent fasting, hands down, is the fastest, most powerful way. Even if you do not change a thing in your diet and you're addicted to sugar and you're addicted to crisps or wine or bread, if you have it in that window, you are going to feel so much better really quickly. And also, I kind of kidded myself on, well, I intermittent fast. And then you realise, no, you weren't. You were eating at night, putting stuff in the body. So, you can't, you will fail if you lie to yourself. So if you can't do 3 hours, do two. And if you can't do 2 hours, do one and then stretch it. You've got to work with where you're at. But trust me, that is the one free, fast way to feel better. Intermittent fasting. It's an absolute no brainer. Even doing 12-12. And I bet you everybody thinks, I can do 12-12. Well, do it then and see if you actually do it. I'm at a 36-hour fasting now and feel great. Yeah, fantastic. And I'm going to do another live when I come back on the 3-day fast. You can do one day with me. You can do 12 hours. You can do a day, 2 days, 3 days. It's up to you. I'm going to go for the 3-day water fast. Now, if you're on a lot of medication and there's a lot of obvious reasons, I know you're intelligent. You don't need me to tell you. You need to talk to somebody. Maybe it's not a good idea for you to do 3 days. But if you're actually perfectly healthy, you're just lazy and you need a good boot up the arse and a bit of motivation, then join me on that. I'm going to dry fast for the first day anyway, and then go on to water. So I'll see how I go. Dry fasting is very different. And I tell you, you feel incredible. And your teeth get clean. That's what I really noticed. Your teeth are really, really clean. So there's a lot, but I'm going to come on and do a live around that. So if anybody's got any questions about supplements, as I say, I've put a couple of links. Boots actually have got a wee quiz thing that you can do. So there are resources there. You don't need to be like having a big pile of stuff that you take sometimes and then you don't take sometimes and you forget. The bottom line is, it's the daily thing. David Asprey recommends activated. Yes, activated charcoal is great. I have done that in the past. We did that in the community actually. The thing is with any healing, harmonizing, balancing journey that you're on, there's more than one way to do it. All I'm telling you is what I've tried and tested on myself and my clients. And there's so many products out there now. Do you have a link to that? Yes, just Google it and you'll see it'll come up and it shows you what to look for. It is so common. Everybody I'm putting on the Genius Insight app has got Candida. Every single person. And now we're meant to have a level of Candida in there, but the big issue is now, especially with high incidence of cancer and autoimmune disease, be aware of it and get in and prevent it. You can live with it. It'll destroy your life force and quality of life. You're probably tired, but 100% get on top of it. And it's easy. That I can send, if anybody wants to see the full cleanse I got from a naturopath in Nova Scotia, it's hands down the best protocol I've ever used. And also it's cheap. The only thing I would say about it is I make my own colloidal silver, and the only way you'd be able to do it is if you make your own colloidal silver. Because if you don't, it would end up very expensive. But it's colloidal silver, boron, borax, and hydrogen peroxide. I think that's really colloidal silver. That's all you need. So it's pretty cheap protocol. Do it for a few months and you will be sorted. But again, I'm not telling you to do it. I'm telling you that it works brilliantly for me. You read it, tune in. And the thing is, see, when you go to start doing a lot of naturopathic things, it can seem alien to you. So you need to be careful that you're not just like turpentine. No, I'm not doing that. Really? It's the essential oil from a pine tree. Why would you not do it? Because it's associated with stripping paint. And, we're literally, it's all about dosage. you're only using tiny, tiny, tiny wee bits of it regularly, and it balances out, gets these bad guys out, and you start putting a lot of good food into the body and some nice supplements, just supporting the body, giving it. In the ideal world, we wouldn't have to take them, but we're not living in the ideal world. So using the supplements for buoyancy to help the cells hydrate. If you can be drinking 2 liters of water a day and be dehydrated because you don't have a good essential fat profile. So your fat profile is essential for the way you absorb water. So it's really, really key. So anyway, I think I've been, God, I can't believe how much I talk when I come on here. So yeah, if anybody's got any questions, just ping it in the box and I will do my best to answer. I'm going away on holiday. I'm not going to answer any messages. I'm going to take some time off and I'm going to be in a snowboard for a week. Let's see how the old body deals with that. Yeah, send me a DM and I'll send you that PDF from the natural path. If candida is a big issue for you, and it probably is, and if stress, breath work, EFT, actually stress, the adrenaline, the cortisol, and everybody's adrenals are going crazy. So, there's really simple vagus nerve exercises you can do. That one where you just put your hands, you look up. Oh no, you don't do it. Wait a minute. You look to your elbow for 30 seconds. You look to the other elbow for 30 seconds, and then you can tilt your body up and do that. Moving your eyes is key to really disrupting the vestibular system. So, and also your meridian system. So, these are simple exercises you can do. If you can get outside or stick your head outside a window and move your eyes from side to side, that's Andrew Huberman stuff. You start bringing in the serotonin as you want to wake up in the morning. And if you can walk outside, even better, just for 10 minutes. It doesn't need to be long. EFT, tap, think about what you want it to be, because what happens when we get a problem, even like the menopause, it's like, you start talking about the problems and how you're feeling and you exacerbate things instead of going, right, what's the body doing? What does the body need? Let me deal with that and look at it. There's Mindy Feltz or Peltz, brilliant stuff, fasting for girls, all over the hormonal stuff and how it works in the cycle, in your 4-week cycle. Loads of great. So, really educate yourself. Try things out on your own body. If your body will already be going, ding, oh yeah, that sounds good, that sounds good. And then all you have to do is actually put it into practice. And EFT, you can do it for 2 minutes, just put your toothbrush down, or you can even do it while you're brushing your teeth. Could you? You probably could. So it's yeah, just find the way for you to calm that beautiful vibrating bundle of cells down, and to minimize the poisons that have been going in there, and really clean out your ecosystem, the barrier reef, the tummy jungle. So yeah, you can even try you can try a couple of days on turps, 2 days in a row. I really highly recommend that too. I've had phenomenal success with my clients, bladder infections, sinus infections. Really easy, simple thing to do. Okay, I've heard Celtic salt is good to help the cells. Everything in balance. Your potassium, your sodium, it's all about that. And yeah, your trace elements, your minerals, that's how things flow in the fat through the fascia. So it's all about communication. It's not just one thing, it's everything. And it's all about balance and reconnecting to nature. The body knows what to do. It would be great if we just took one pill and everything got fixed, but we'd have to look after this whole ecosystem. So start looking at yourself as this phenomenal big electromagnetic field with this barrier reef that runs all the way down through the body, and you can utilize that for greater levels of clarity and excitement and joy and whatever it is that you want and love, and start talking about what you would love instead of what the body's doing, complaining about it, which is so tempting sometimes. But tap your way out of that as well. Loads of videos, loads of stuff. You'll be getting bombarded with pictures of the mountains very soon. So have a great week, and I will chat to you very soon. Ciao.